This is Henle First Year Latin, Lesson 25, Part 3, which is about interrogative pronouns. In the following sentences, who, what, whom, and whose are interrogative pronouns. So we can see how this works in English. Who are you? In Latin, it's quis es. To whom did you give the sword? In Latin, we would say cui gladium dedisti. What did you see? Quid vidisti? Whose towns did he burn? Quorum opida incendit. The interrogative pronoun in Latin is the word quis or quid, which means who or what. And you can see from the grammar book that Grammar 140 is how to decline the interrogative pronoun. And if you were to compare this chart to the chart we looked at in the last section for relative pronouns, you would notice that the two charts are extremely similar. I would encourage you to compare them and think about what's different between the two charts. I've looked it over several times, and it appears to me that the only differences are in the nominative, and except for the accusative and the feminine and the neuter. And that's all only in the singular. The plural chart 140 is exactly the same as the relative pronoun and adjective chart, which is number 139. There's new vocabulary for this section. On page 272, you'll see these words listed. There is quis quid, which means who or what. There is ostendo, ostendere, ostendi, ostentus, which is a third conjugation verb that means to show. You'll also see traduco, traducere, traduxi, traductus, and you notice that the ducere is in here and it follows the same pattern as ducere for conjugating it. It is also a third conjugation verb. We have the word clam, which means secretly. That's an adverb, so it's never going to change. It will always just be clam. And then we have a new noun, socius socii, or socius socii, which means ally. So as you can tell, this is a second declension noun. So let's look at some practice using the chart 140 in order to give some questions. In exercise 287, the instructions say that if it can be, if it's possible to translate the sentence in either singular or plural, you should translate it both ways. And then many of the sentences have the word you in them, which we can of course say in the singular or the plural. So most of these are expected to be done both ways. So for number 1, the question in the book is, to whom did you give the reward? So in the singular, we have you did give, dedisti, the reward, which you notice is in the accusative. So cui, so did you give, is going to be the subject and the verb. Who or what, so this will go, reward will go into the accusative. And then to whom tells you that will be in the dative. So we have, you can see down here, didisti, did you give, premia, the reward, and then cui is in the dative singular, and that means to whom. To say that in the plural, we have our second conjugation, our second person plural verb, didistis. Did you give the reward to whom? So you can see how that worked there. In number 2, we have with whom were you. So to think about what those jobs those words are doing, we can write it as a statement. You were with whom? You is the subject. Were is a verb. With is cum in Latin. And then who is going to be in the ablative. So for number 2, in the singular, we'll have the plural in a minute, but in the singular we have you were, which is right here, eros, and then quorum is in the ablative, and there's no cum in this. Honestly, I'm not really sure why there isn't. I think there may be a rule about it, but it seemed to me like cum quorum would make more sense. So it's possible that the answer key I'm looking at has left that out. It's also possible that they're assuming that it's just not necessary. The plural, however, you can see it does include the cum. You all were. You know, cum means with, and in some instances it can be stuck on the end of a word. You notice the quibus is in the dative. So that's the end of this part of the lesson.